Our next article.
This article is actually true, though.
I know it's true.
I'll tell you why after I get your take.
Well, okay, so from the New York Post, millennials only making $100,000 a year feel strapped. Let me just read a couple of things. Jenny Castillo makes over... Hold on. Jenny Castillo makes over six figures, owns multiple homes in D.C., and vacationed in 3 countries already this year. But at the end of each month, she's still counting pennies. Adulting is very expensive, Castillo, 32, tells the Post. Yeah, on paper I make good money, but when you factor in debt, cost of living, and lifestyle, it's not. Even though Castillo makes more than 75% of the U.S. population, according to 2014 U.S. Census Bureau numbers, she insists there's not much left after shelling out for rent, bills, savings, and her pleasure fund. I have a separate account for those fun things, Castillo says, listing travel, eating out, and staying at luxury hotels as her musts. Self-care is something I prioritize in my life, and I don't feel guilty about it. All right, so...
Well, you should, because you're a fucking moron.
I know.
Pleasure funds. Right.
Well, all right.
Strapped by her pleasure.
Listen, millennials, I'll give you my take real quick first.
Okay.
Millennials are strapped that make $100,000 a year because a lot of them have massive student debt. And if you think about a mortgage paid off over 30 years, student loans aren't 30-year terms. They're 10-year terms. And they're at triple the interest rate. So they have student debt. They're living in cities which are ridiculously expensive to live in. You know, they're living a standard of living they shouldn't be. Now, I'm not saying this isn't of their own making.
It is of their own making.
Living a it is. I'm just saying a millennial living a cosmopolitan lifestyle, $100,000 is nothing.
All right. Well, Halsey, how much student loan debt do you have?
Student loan debt? None.
None. I don't have any
Zero.
student loan debt either. Anybody?
I wouldn't have gone to college if I had to. If I had student debt,
I wouldn't have either. That's the thing. Do you have student loans?
I paid it off years ago.
it's
well,
like,
for me,
so I wouldn't
That
even
was
have
like
taken
the
it.
first
I
thing
wouldn't have
did.
gone.
I lived in the ghetto and ate ramen noodles, and then when I
Right.
finished paying my student,
I did that in college, so I wouldn't have debt.
To get the hell out of the ghetto now, and did it.
yeah, and for
Cry and piss and blame other people for it. I just dug in and.
and for me, I graduated in 3 years to save time and money, and I had a good relationship with my parents, so they covered my college, and then I paid them back after I started working. So no interest from loans.
I had scholarships, so I had to come up with living expenses, and I worked.
Oh yeah, I used the GI Bill, and I worked full time while going to school full time.
I went double full time.
Working
I took 24 credits a semester, and I still worked full time.
Oh, I went.
Have to.
I did 12 credits a semester, but I worked a full-time job while I was taking 12 credits a semester, and I still, had the highest grade in all my classes and everything. The only reason why I stopped going to school is because I ran out of GI Bill money. I was going for a second bachelor's, and then I basically ran out of money. Anyway,
if I wanted to go back to school tomorrow, the same scholars I had Mensa scholarships that got me to college and through college. If I wanted to go back to school tomorrow, they'd give it to me again. They'd still give me, I think it's $36,000 a year. I mean, a semester to go to school. No, have to pay it back. Nothing.
Yeah. Well, no, there are scholarships, especially for women. There's so many scholarships, but women, the free money requires them to write an essay, and that's too much work. It's just easier to go
They have to describe how bad it hurts their vaginas to not be in college.
Right. So it's like these women who want free period tampons. Like $5 a month is too much. I need free stuff. But okay, well it's free, but you have to go to the health department to pick up your free tampons. That's too much work. I want you to send it to me in like a loot crate every month. I want to fucking get my loot crate with all my free government hygiene products every month because I have it's just even when it's free, it has to also be convenient. So even when women have free money showered upon them, most women just get student loans because it's easier. And then, I have no pity for them. And then not only, they don't take out what they need. They'll go to their guidance counselor or whatever for their college, and they can calculate what they need in tuition and books. But they'll go to the student loan place and they'll be like, oh, well, you're qualified for this much. And they'll take all of it. Way more than they need, and then they'll spend it on bullshit like living out in an apartment, eating out all the time. They'll live this fucking lifestyle with borrowed money.
Shopping at Whole Foods.
I watched so many people do that and live this great. They were partying all the time. They always had cash, but it wasn't.
It was student loans, right? And then
Yeah.
they graduate high school, they get a job, and they're paying back their student loans. They're like, "Oh, I'm broke. Government, fuck you, you stupid fucking baby." Like,
I have no sympathy. They literally partied for 4 years and then they cry about it.
Well, and it's same thing with the student loan. The same thing as the fucking housing collapse. So I knew people, just like I did with Bitcoin. I warned people, this is a bubble. Get the fuck out. And everyone told me I was crazy. But I saw people flipping houses. They were flipping houses and they were constantly refinancing their house and spending the money as a second stream of income. Like
that was the housing bubble.
Their house would go up in value. They'd refinance, take the cash, and then they just spend it on nothing. Spend it on vacations and everything. And like they just treated it like this was never going to end, that the house would just keep getting better and keep getting better, and it was free money. And these were adults who signed paperwork, and then when the bubble popped and their house was worthless and they owed all this money on it, they were like, I'm a victim. No, you're not. You are a greedy fucking child who took the free money, signed on the dotted line, and now that you have to pay it back, you're crying to the fucking government like a fucking baby. And the problem is, the government bailed them out. Because it's a numbers game.
Not them.
No, they bailed out the people too. They're like, oh, predatory lending. They did the show trials and everything. No, they didn't give people free houses. That would have destroyed the market. But no, like we have all the quantitative easing was to benefit the housing market. Like, we should have just not done any of that. All the inflation that was caused by the fucking quantitative easing, it's insane. That's what destroyed the petrodollar. You have Russia and China.
100%.
So what if we just didn't, and all these people got thrown on their fucking ass? Good. Fuck these people. But no, can't do that. The poor people, we gotta stabilize the economy. Like, no, who gives a shit? Fuck these people. They took out loans they couldn't afford. Fuck them. Fuck businesses that take out too much debt and go bankrupt. Fuck people who take out too much debt and go bankrupt. Fuck them all. Because this is fucking Darwinism. The smart banks that didn't take out a bunch of subprime loans expanded during the collapse. They bought up other banks. It's like the banks that did stupid shit went bankrupt, and justifiably so. It wasn't the end of banking. Oh my God, where will I get a loan? All the banks are gone. No, they're not. There were banks that aren't fucking retarded, and they grew. Like, I belong to a credit union. My credit union blew the fuck up during the subprime mortgage. It's like huge now. It wasn't huge before. They bought up all these banks during the collapse. It was great. So, like, that's a good thing. If all these people lost their houses because of the housing collapse, that would have been cheap real estate. You know how fucking expensive real estate is on the West Coast? People live in their van. It's cheaper to live in a fucking van. And these are people making six figures. They like work at Google and shit, and they're living in a van because they can't afford a house because it's like $1 million for a crack house. And that's what happens when you bail out the losers because, they were victims. No, they weren't. They were greedy people. They had dollar signs in their eyes. And they called me stupid when I told them they were being stupid. Like, what do you know? What do you know about money? It's like, I feel like a doctor getting told by these anti-vax moms that I don't know what I'm talking about. It's so frustrating. It's like, whatever. And I'm so glad we didn't bail out the Bitcoin people. Like when BitConnect went under and all these people lost their money. I'm so thankful we didn't bail them out. But I know that's only because it wasn't widespread. If Bitcoin went mainstream and then the BitConnect crash happened, there would have been bailouts because people would have cried to the government. It's a fucking numbers game. When enough dipshit normies lose enough money, they cry to the government. And the government's like, oh no, I can buy your votes by buying you off with your own money. Yeah, sounds like a plan. So, but this is why inequality is bullshit. These people will simply raise their standard of living and always be poor. Like the whole Marxist thing that meritocracy causes poverty or we need free time. This woman is complaining about how she's broke when she has 3 homes and she's jet setting around the world, eating out. She has a pleasure fund. She considers her objective wants to be needs.
Yeah, fuck her.
There is no point where she will ever be satisfied. If she won the lottery, she'd simply raise her standard of living until she was broke again.
And then what about that?
Right, and this is most people. Like, when you get a raise at work, you don't pay off your debt. You don't, save for a rainy day. You increase your standard of living. Everyone does. People simply... As their income goes up, they increase the standard of living, and they maintain, like, people, like, they're in their 20s, they're broke, their 30s, they're broke, their 40s, they're broke. They're never not broke. But when you look at their income's always going up. Well, what happened? Oh, well, I got a second car, I got married, I had kids, I had all this other, and so they never saved anything, they never invested anything. Now, that's fine, but you chose to do those things. If you choose to live this lifestyle and you're broke, it's your fault. It's not.
Yeah.
Think of all the people. Think of all the people
fault.
that have a 401k, right? If you put money into your 401k, your employer will usually match it. It's free money, 100% return, and
Yep.
nobody's doing it.
Well, and most employers
free.
drop their match anyway. But yeah, if you have a match,
But
and
you know
you're
what I
not
mean.
if you're not investing in your 401k when you have a match, that's 100%
The
return.
max.
Yeah, to the match of the match. Like, usually it's only like a 3 or
Yeah.
4% match. So you need to be putting 3% into your 401k because your employer is doubling your money. That's 100% return. There's no other place in the world you're going to get 100% return. So it's free money.
IRAs are really
So,
good
you know,
too,
I
right?
get this.
max
I
that
get
out.
this question. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying IRAs are really good too. I try to max that out.
Well, IRAs
I've been
aren't.
doing that for a long time.
All right, IRAs are literally nothing other than a tax thing. So the government doesn't tax your contributions. They allow you to deduct your contributions from your income on your taxes. That's all an IRA is.
But it's
Unless you're
like
getting
tax-free money for when I retire, right? Like
No.
once it matures and I'm
No.
retirement age, I can grab
No,
it.
you pay taxes on it then.
No, you're thinking about a Roth IRA. So there's a traditional IRA where you can deduct your contributions from your income the year you make the contribution, but you pay taxes on the distribution. So when you take the money in retirement, you pay taxes on it. Or a Roth IRA, you pay taxes on the contribution, but it's tax-free at retirement. I don't recommend a Roth IRA because you're basically hoping that the government doesn't back out of their end of the deal, which I fully expect them to do. So take the
Shit, they tax total Social Security. They will definitely back out of the
right.
deal.
So take the tax deferral now, but don't get a Roth. But you're definitely going to pay taxes. You're not going to get a tax deferral and tax-free income in retirement. That's two different things. They're going to get their pound of flesh. That's just how the government
100%.
is.
So I get this question all the time. No, real quick. I get this question all the time. When is it appropriate to take out student loans? And I would normally just answer never. It's just never a good idea. But here's the thing. You know, when they in Africa, they have like an outbreak of Ebola and they like kind of isolate everyone in a tent. Okay.
Hold on, yeah.
My employer match half of my 401k up to 6%.
Well, if they only
I would
match,
put the 100% 6%. The 6%
Right.
would go in every single time, even if I had to starve.
but if he only
It's
matches
free money.
hold on. If he only matches half the 401k up to 6%, that's only 3%. So that's like saying, I'll match a quarter of your contributions at 12%. They're basically different ways of saying the same thing. So he's only matching 3%. So
Then I
it's
put
fine.
in the 3%.
Right, put it in 3% or put in the 6% because he's matching half of it. It doesn't fucking matter. It's the same. It's a math trick. But anyway,
But that's still a 50% return on 6%.
well, it's 100% return on 3%.
Right. Same. I mean,
It's
we're
still the
talking
same
about-
thing. It's math. It's fungible. Numbers
Yeah.
are fungible.
But
Anyway.
so as I was saying, when people ask when should I take out student loans, I say, you know how they isolate like people with Ebola in like a big tent so that no one else can get it, you know, or they try at least. You need to look at student debt like that tent. Yes, there are reasons to go into that tent if you don't have Ebola, but they better be a goddamn amazing fucking reason to go into that tent. So if you look at student loan, like if you're questioning whether you should take it, you shouldn't. End of discussion. If you
Right.
have a 100% chance that, oh, if I take out this $5,000, I have a guaranteed job with my family after college, you know, I can pay it back and or whatever, or I'm going into a field that commonly has debt repayment, whatever it may be, then maybe consider it. But if you're just hoping for the best and putting yourself in debt, you should literally look at that debt like Ebola.
Well, you
On
basically
that,
you
let's
have.
move on.
Well, hold on, Kroy. You have different options. You have scholarships. You have grants. You have the GI Bill. You have
Community
trade school,
college.
community college. There's all kinds of options that don't require student loan debt. Now, if you're a white male, obviously there's no grants for you. There's no scholarships for you. But that's where you're a masculine. Why aren't you a masculine presenting transgendered lesbian? Seriously. Like, if you are like, oh, I'm a white male, I can't get any scholarships. Have you come out as a masculine presenting transgender lesbian? No, that's some gay shit. Like, I'm just going to give you that Stewie sideways head look where I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? So you're going to go into debt at 20% interest out of pride? Well, again, then I don't feel sorry for you.
Brought to you